Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom or Tom. How's it going?
Tony, it is not Michigan Monday, but it is Michigan, I don't know, Thursday when this
Who
is going
knows?
up. This whole week has been a blur, but yeah, it is. It is time to talk about the Michigan Wolverines and talk about the Michigan Wolverines, talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes and some interesting comments that have been made over the last week or two.
Yeah, I like this all stems back from the Big Ten Media Days when Kyle Whittingham, new head coach there, was asked by somebody, and I don't even know if the person was on the Michigan beat. They weren't on the Ohio State beat. It may have just been some rando. Said, have you learned to hate Ohio State yet? And Whittingham said, hate's a strong word, but I want to win that game as badly as anybody in Ann Arbor. I just think that a rivalry can be intense and emotional without the hatred factor. I don't think there's a place for that. Personally, I think Ryan Day is a good person. To sit here and say I hate Ryan Day, I'd be making crap up because that's not true. And when I was there for that, I heard hate's a strong word, and then I immediately started tweeting. And I didn't really get the rest of what he had to say because I knew, like, oh no, this is not going to go well. And on one hand, I I I have no problem with anything he said. I just knew that this is not gonna go well with people. And then he was asked to clarify on, Monday back in Ann Arbor at, interviews like, "Sir, Kyle, would you like to, clarify your statement about not needing to hate Ohio State or Ryan Day? Would you like to maybe change your words on that?" And he said, would we have a better chance to win if I hated them? I mean, I don't understand. I want to beat them worse than anybody around. So I don't know how that got to be such a hot topic. There's periods, practice segments, and things in the weight room where that's talked about. I'm not trying to downplay that at all. It's a huge game, gigantic. It's something we all have in the back of our mind 24/7. And Tom, throughout all of this, yeah, we got focus. We got this. We got periods. Nothing is as strong as hate, right?
Can I give you my absolute hottest,
Mm.
most scalding, face melting take that I possibly can manage on this one? Ready?
Yeah.
Everything he said is absolutely fine. Like, I don't disagree with a single word he said. Like, that is that is a perfectly reasonable take to have. He covering him at the Rose Bowl in 2021 when he was the head coach of Utah. I came away from every interaction with him and his team thinking, this is a really smart, rational human being who would be a delight to cover on a regular basis and seems to have his stuff very much together, and his team plays really hard for him, and a very easy guy to respect. And I still think all of those things, same things right now. The idea that there's a little bit of, it's like a little performative where you have to, like, I would drown my own pet to beat this team. Just what, like, just it, it's a football game. Like,
Mm.
we get it. Like, it is the game that defines the season. We understand everyone has to be like way over the top and everyone has to be real hyperbolic. Like, but yeah, like, you can be an adult and recognize that it's a football game between two teams that don't like each other and two fan bases that don't like each other. But Ryan Day and Kyle Whittingham, when they were at the Rose Bowl, seemed to get along perfectly fine. Like, they seemed like they were two
Mhm.
people who enjoyed being around each other and respected the job that the other one did. And I would expect, I don't know that Ryan Day has been asked directly about respecting Kyle Whittingham or hating Kyle Whittingham or whatever. I would imagine his answer on this is going to be largely the same. Like, and this is not a performative thing because the last few years, like for years, there was conversations about respect and the rivalry and all that kind of stuff, and you got one answer. And then when some things changed over the span of several years between 2021 and 2025 or so, you got some different answers on that. And there was not a lot of respect. And there was not a lot of, I think there was some genuine,
Mhm.
strong dislike there. It doesn't have to be like that. And if, doing it in a performative manner or doing it where we're going to, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it so hard that everyone has no choice but to believe me that this is, I hate
Mhm.
this person more than anything in the world. like you can do that, but it's very performative and people will see through it. And so, yeah, I looked at everything Kyle Whittingham said and said, uh-huh, yeah, that seems like a perfectly reasonable answer.
A very adult answer. The performative stuff, remember when they would do, like, the Lloyd car, that week that you could go, like, hit a car with a hammer, a sledgehammer on campus? Like, imagine, like, Jim Tressel getting out there and taking some swings at him and like, "Arr!" That would be performative. That's that's not anything that we've seen, and really, the the whole disrespectful thing with Harbaugh refusing to acknowledge or, like, the way he acted, and then, of course, you're gonna get an kind of an equal and opposite reaction from that as well, and so I'm looking forward to because Ryan Day has not been asked about this. So, like, the next time we talk to him, which I think is, Saturday maybe, be like, "Brian, what do you think about Kyle Whittingham saying he doesn't hate you? Is this is this rat poison? Like, do you hate Kyle? Do you like what it's like 4th grade theater. Do you hate Kyle? Circle yes or no." Come on. We're all grown-ups here. Like, there's a place for hate and it's on social media. Okay? That's the place for it. Not on the football field, not between adult coaches. It's anonymous stuff. And really, not to get all preachy, but like the hate and the anger is prevalent and it's business and everybody's getting sucked into it and it's not healthy. And yet, then when you flip over to the other spectrum of that with what Bryce Underwood said recently to CBS's John Fanta about the game and what he basically the only part that gets clipped is he says that, it's just another game. It's just a team in a different kind of jersey. And before all of that, he says he's asked how do you define the game. He said it's a blessing to be in. It's very physical. It's taxing mentally and physical. You got to stay strong mentally. You got to stay strong physically. You can't quit. You can't give up. And he was asked, what do you think about your first meeting? What comes to mind? And the answer is, I lost. Does that drive you? His goal is to be 1-0 every day. So yes, it does drive him. But then how much difference is that game from any other you've played in is the next question. And he said, that's just another game, just with guys in a different color. That's how I see it. And Tom, that's where you're going to get even more blowback from the whole "it's just another game" crowd, or it can't be just another game crowd.
Right. Well, and that's one where I did kind of arch an eyebrow a little bit because if you do that and you say that after you lose, then yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of post hoc
Yes.
analysis that goes on with all of this where if you lose and you say that, then the answer is that you are taking it seriously enough and you'll never win because you're not taking it seriously enough. If you said the complete opposite and you had lost and you said, our entire existence as a football program is defined by that one game and that one game alone, and nothing else matters. We could go 1-11 every year as long as we beat Ohio State, then and you lose, then the post hoc analysis is, well, you care too much. You need to care less. Like, and there's a certain amount of that you just kind of have to, shake your head and hand wave. Do I think that he really thinks that? No, I don't think that because they don't have an enormous sign in their wall that says beat Northwestern or what did you do to beat Illinois today? Like
Mhm.
they know, like it was a bad answer. I don't know that he really believes it. If he does believe it, then, then he's probably a little bit out of step with a lot of other folks in that building because that's not the answer you get from a lot of other people. Bryce Underwood, I don't know that Bryce Underwood is great in front of a microphone right now, which he's a true sophomore, just starting his true sophomore season. Like, there are plenty of people who are not great in front of a microphone at the beginning of their true sophomore seasons. And so that is not the worst thing in the world to have as a shortcoming, but it doesn't always feel like he's given everything a tremendous amount of thought before he says it out loud. And so I I don't I don't think, first of all, no, that is not a good answer. Second of all, I don't think that that reflects a, mindset shift in Ann Arbor where
Mm.
they are de-emphasizing the Ohio State game and it doesn't matter anymore. And it's because Kyle Whittingham is soft and doesn't know how to hate like a real man. And Bryce Underwood is scared to compete. And, no, probably not. But it wasn't a great answer.
Yeah. And it's not going to be the difference in a win or a loss because all of the effort that needs to happen or will be there. And it's not going to be, he's not going to give less effort because, well, I don't want to look like a liar. So I'm just going to play like this is any other game because that's not generally what quarterbacks do in this game. They will put it all out there, and if they can't, then you'll see it, and they won't have many more of these games, at least in this rivalry game. But like it's just you as the quarterback and the voice of the team. I'm sure the fan base would prefer a more, you know, it doesn't have to be cocky. It's like Julian Sayin was asked about it recently, and he said when you lose, it becomes like that's like what you're known for or whatever. It's just like this cloud over you, and that's the answer that's true. When you lose it, when you win it, like it's a cloud or a crown, basically, one or the other. And to say like, yeah, it's just like any other, that's a lie. And and so now it's like now you're lying to the people, but everybody lies. Like coaches lie all the time. Players will tell you as much as they can without telling you anything. So like we're all in this make believe world of college football media, talking to players and coaches, knowing that 60% of the answers come with a wink and a nod, and 40% are lies. It's like I don't know if that's the right percentage, but like, come on,
87% of statistics on college football podcasts are just made
yes,
up right on the spot. I mean,
exactly.
it's just how it is. Yeah. I mean, if you listen to us talk about post interview sessions, half the time, that's 50%, which is a real statistic that is, I can definitely back up with facts and citations. Half the time, we're talking about here's what they said, but you kind of have to listen for the things that they don't say, or the order that they didn't say things in, or the order they did say things in. And there is a certain amount of an art to this,
Mhm.
and it's a little bit, I think you used the word performative earlier, and it's a different kind of performative where it's like you're trying to say something and you're trying to say, we don't like it when you don't say anything interesting. But if you say something that's too interesting, everyone goes, well, you can't say that.
Mhm.
And so you're trying to sort of thread the needle and say just enough without giving up too much. And you're trying, half the time coaches are speaking to their rosters through us and they're trying to motivate guys or they're trying to inspire guys or they're trying to light a fire under guys or whatever it is. And, you ask about the tight end room and you get an answer that's about like, well, let me tell you about this book about climbing Mount Everest. And it's like, that wasn't, I mean, maybe the tight end room's going to do that. I don't know. There's a little bit of an art to this. And, you know, it- it's just, it is not everyone does it in the same way. And so the fact that stuff on social media you get, half of a sentence clipped out of a 5 sentence answer and
Mhm.
everyone just looks at that and goes, well, these 7 words define this athlete's entire existence in my mind for the rest of eternity and I'm angry about it. And it's like, that's probably not the right response either.
I mean, I just told you 7 minutes ago, I heard Kyle Whittingham say one sentence, and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. So it's like,
I didn't want to say that you're part of the problem. Are you all of the problem? I don't know,
no.
maybe, but you're part of the problem.
A-
Yeah, maybe.
Am I complicit? I will testify. Like I will flip. Like I will, you know, I'm not going down again for anybody. But yeah, like that's why to cover my own tracks, I read all of his comments. Right? I read all of Bryce Underwood's comments. I read all of Kyle Whittingham's comments. Did I emphasize maybe some? No, maybe, but I just everybody wants to everybody. The internet likes to be angry or likes to And even when I tweeted out the Kyle Whittingham stuff, it was mostly Michigan fans saying, "Oh, we're cooked. Oh, he's cooked. Oh, this is, this is not good. This is not good." And he's absolutely right in terms of would me hating anybody, like, would that help us win more? Because if it would, the coaches would do it, and some coaches do. And yet, like, it's it still comes down to blocking, tackling, and all of that. And if you hate something and you lose, you hated them too much. We were talking about this earlier today, where whatever you've done is the wrong thing. Ryan Day is so super focused on Michigan, he loses 3 or 4 in a row, and it's like you gotta pull it back. But if you're not winning enough, then you gotta push forward. So it's always what you're doing or not doing. Like if you lose, it's something you've done or whatever, and you just pick and choose whatever reason that makes you angriest is the reason that something has happened. So, Tom, anything else before we go?
I was just thinking, who is the Abraham of hate in sports, and especially in football? Tony, may I spin you a yarn about a gentleman named Rod Smart? Do you know who Rod Smart is?
Go ahead. Well, there's been a couple in the NFL, but
Well, this was a gentleman in the XFL, and he
okay.
played for the
Oh,
Las Vegas Outlaws.
yes.
And on the first game in league history, he was asked about the name on the back of his jersey, which said "He hate me," and he was asked why it said "He hate me" on the back of his jersey. He said, "Because those guys over there, they hate me." Tony, do you know what the Las Vegas Outlaws record was in that 2001 inaugural and XFL season? And I am almost certain that you now have this information right at your fingertips, as I certainly did.
0-10.
4-6. So
Hey, at least I got the 10 part right.
there were 10 games in the 2001 XFL season. Yes, well done. So that was the point of this whole story. So yes, 10 games in the 2001 XFL season. So there you go. There's your big takeaway from this story. Hate in sports, it will get you almost to 500.
But people still remember him because of the hate.
It's
So
true. That is true. So I don't know. I don't know what point we just proved, but I'm sure it was definitely one.
I also a couple of other XFL stories while we got you here. I did once have an XFL football. It was like very, very much on clearance at like a Walmart back in like 2004 or 5 or something. It was nice football. It was black and red. It's very, very, pretty cool looking. Also, was it Mike Furry with a former Ohio State Buckeye,
Mhm.
former Northern Iowa perhaps, who they would do their introductions, and he said something to the effect of, "I'm not a receiver, I'm a weapon."
Mhm.
And then it's like, all right, time for kickoff where you have to run and collide with each other head on as the tip off for the kickoff. Vince McMahon, way ahead of his time, as
And
everybody knows.
Mike Furry also on the 2001 XFL Outlaws. So there you go.
I watched
Buckeye
one
Insider,
game.
BuckeyeInsiders.com, your preeminent source for information about the 2001 Las Vegas Outlaws.
And if you would like to talk more about the 2001 Las Vegas Outlaws, you can do so over at BuckeyeInsiders.com. I'd love to see you there. Got 18-page thread on the old Las Vegas Outlaws. That is not true. But we do have a bunch of threads on a bunch of topics going on right now. Fall camp is flying, and we're talking about it constantly over there. Some of the stuff we're hearing behind the scenes, we're throwing it on in there as well. So if any of this interests you, Las Vegas Outlaws aside, anything we've been talking about interests you, we've got a Michigan thread going as well. So if that's your sort of thing, we'd love to see you over there. So come on over. That will do it from here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you all later.